listening to, you are absolutely listening to the George Espenlaub Show, coming to you live from the Funny Farm. Now, with no further ado, here comes Georgie!
Thank you so very, very much. I appreciate that. To all of our friends down the street, around the corner, across this great nation, and around the world, I welcome you to the George Espenlaub Show, coming to you live from the Funny Farm in a place called Our World. And if you're a regular listener, you know all about Our World. And we want you to join us in Our World. And all you have to do is tune in. Listen, here's what I want you to do very quickly. And with modern technicians, with modern technology, we're able to do this rather quickly. Would you please call a friend, call a family member, email a friend, email family members, shout it out, holler across the hedge. You know, does everyone know what a hedge is? Holler across the hedge to your neighbor and tell them to stop doing what they are doing and tune in to the George Espenlaub Show on Spreaker.com. Ladies and gentlemen, and this is none. This is not exaggeration. This is unlike any other show we have done since we've been on the air here at Spreaker.com. This is fascinating. I can't really put it in words, so you're going to have to tune in and get someone to tune in with you, or gather people around your listening device wherever you are, because these fellows are going to take you and me to a place that we have never been before. Listen very carefully as we bring Thomas Smith and James Darrell Williams onto the show. Fellas, thank you very much for being on the George Espenlaub Show.
Hey, thank you, sir. Thank you for having us.
I told our listening audience, and I put it on our news page, this is probably, if not for certain, one of the most different shows that we have ever done since we have been on Spreaker.com. Wow. And I must say, I'm trying to think back of all the folks that I've interviewed in the past years here and somewhere else. And I don't think I have ever done a show quite like this one. And I want to say, first of all, thank you guys for your courage, and thank you for sitting down and writing this book that you can make people aware of what's going on.
That's a lot to live up to, George. Thank you.
No. I mean, it takes courage to throw yourself out there. I mean, to bare your soul. And I think it's very humbling, because I can tell that your whole purpose is to help someone else and help us here in society understand what this thing is. I'll let you explain it, Thomas and James.
Okay.
I'm just going to step out of the way, and you tell us a little bit about yourselves and what this is, and then I'll get in there somewhere with you. But you got the floor.
Thank you. It's funny you said that. Thank you for very much for calling us brave. Although I always say that Darrell is the brave one, because it did take an awful lot for him to even agree to putting as much of his life out there. And when we're doing Which One Am I, it was a 2-year process of writing and researching and meeting people that, you know, we claimed to be family, and it was very, very complicated. But the story changed as we were writing. Originally, Which One Am I was just supposed to be the story of Darrell's life, straight through. And you did pick up on something else that we did. I, as a journalist, so that's my background, I couldn't let it go with just our story. I had to make it larger. And in our research, we found that dissociative identity disorder, or DID, or as your listening audience may just refer to as multiple personalities, it's very much out of favor in the psychological community. It's been, the psychologists, the treatment of it has been hit by a lot of
negative publicity by people who are either rapists, murderers, and that they would try to use this particular dissociative as a way of trying to say it was not me. I was not myself, and throughout listening to trials and stuff of people trying to use this, I was so flabbergasted that they would make something that is so real to try to use it to their advantage, and then that made people not believe it, that it was just something that was made up in Hollywood.
And we still have that problem. He was seeing his doctor a while back, and he told the nurse, I'm multiple, or nurse, somebody there. And she said, well, I thought that only happened in the movies. And that's what we face when we go out, is that people don't know about it, don't believe it's real, because of the bad publicity, because of what's happened historically, which we chronicle in Which One Am I, as best we could. And we found that when we're going out on our Words and Music tour with our friend Kelly, where we just reading and she plays, some songs from her new CD, we're meeting a lot of multiples. They're either misdiagnosed or undiagnosed, and we're meeting an awful lot of psychology professionals, people involved in it who aren't getting the training, who aren't getting the information that we give them in Which One Am I, who really feel that come to see us and is like, my God, our heads should get really huge on this. Is there a chance to learn about something that they themselves have been told doesn't exist?
Yeah.
Why do you?
Even though it's. Go ahead.
Why do you think that is? I mean, is there some in the medical community that knows it's for real, knows of its existence, and they just don't talk about it? They're in denial. They don't want people to know. And then there's others that know nothing at all about it. Is that how it is?
There are those, like my therapist, is that you have to learn. It's a process of learning and actually being around people who do have it, and it's a lot of people think that when they hear the word DID, they think of schizophrenic, because a lot of people say that people that are schizophrenic, that they see people and everything, they talk to people in front of them. But the difference is that I see from within, from within myself, looking out. I don't see anyone sitting in front of me. I don't, like if I'm standing in front of a mirror, I don't see me. Because I'm not, there are points in when I switch that I don't see that I'm not able to see what I should be able to see. Like if, I'm like 5'9.5", And I look in a mirror, and when one of the little younger kids, like the 2 or 3 year old Billy and Jimmy, and them come out, all of a sudden that mirror disappears. It looks like I'm looking up at it from the floor.
Right.
And I didn't understand that at first. I didn't understand what caused that. And my therapist of 22 years is explaining to me that a person that is schizophrenic see things that we don't. Okay, it doesn't mean that they're not there. That it depends on how spiritual you are as a person. And it's more apt to be known about than DID, and it's really difficult to tell and be able to describe how you could tell when a person has it or not. There is no given medical. It's just words that doctors use. That's basically it. It's what a person is experiencing that they are swearing up and down. There is no test that you can take by blood. There's no, you have to have faith and trust in the person that's talking to you as a therapist. Mm-hmm. When a therapist is talking to you, that therapist is not necessarily saying, I believe you, but that doctor won't understand it and will not come to the terms of believing it if there is nothing there to be seen. Do you understand what I mean?
Yep. I got you.
The problem with its perception in the medical community and in the public at large, I actually began with Sybil, because if you go through, read the book, and go into what happened after what the story of the Sybil tells, mm-hmm. It's just not true. It's not the way things worked out. There wasn't a happy ending. She wasn't, as Dr. Cornelia Wilbur always tried to do, to fuse the personalities into this new Sybil. Well,
it cannot happen.
It can't happen. I'm totally unaware of any multiple who's been able to fuse. And yet that's how the book ends, with this brand new Sybil. Then, through history we went, well, also Dr. Cornelia Wilbur, hate to speak ill of the dead, but she apparently was very much into getting publicity for herself. Mm-hmm. And she reappeared during the Billy Milligan case, where Billy was the first person to be found, let's see now, what do you call that when he was found not guilty of a crime due to insanity caused by dissociative identity disorder. Mm-hmm. And there's still a whole lot of question about whether or not he actually had it. He's not talking.
Right.
Well, also, there's a question about that specific person, also about the paintings that he has, that he has art that he does, but then he does other art, and that none of the strokes are the same. As like a Van Gogh. Everyone that knows anything about art knows how Van Gogh does his strokes. They're all the same. There's none different from one picture to the next. It's the same as writing. You all have one way of writing. Even though there are different way of writing, there's certain points that a detective will see that your hand signature matches this hand signature, like a letter. But, Billy Milligan and me, but me personally, I have doubts to myself about him. Mm-hmm. Because anybody can learn how to do a stroke of a pen, of an art picture. You can always be a forger is a forger is a forger. Uh-huh. But people with DID, it's much harder than, if you study like my doctor did. She started studying DID when she was in college. That's what she set her goals to do, because of the book of Sybil and the movie had intrigued her enough to want to learn and to study the difference in her patients, of each patient that she would have. They claimed to have it. And she met me and only asked me a few questions. And, because the first doctor that I saw did not know what to do with me because he could not figure out who I was. And this was the conversation that those two had before I'd ever met her, that he could not figure out who I am, what I'm about, what am I talking about. My voices would change. He said that my eye colors would automatically change, my facial structures would change. And I did not even know this. And I live it. I had no idea that my facial structures would change. If you look on the back of the book, that none of my pictures that are on the back of the book, which there were going to be more, but only had room for so many, that I come to realize by looking at those pictures, a friend of ours brought it to my attention. He asked Tom, when Tom was putting it together, who are all these guys here? Are these you guys as friends? He had no idea that they were me. And that got me to looking through them, and I'm going like, who are these people? Because I had no idea that my facial structure and eye color had changed that dramatic that, most times when you're a skinny person, you stay looking skinny, or when you're heavy set like I was in a few of those pictures, that you remain the same. Things just don't dramatically change that much as they did for me when I studied my own pictures to find out who am I really, which one of those are really me. And that's where I came up with the idea of the book and a mask of it's actually a vase that's a picture on the front of the book that I found walking through a store one day, and automatically I was drawn to it. And I couldn't figure out why, and so I asked my doctor, and she says that most people with DID will most likely be drawn to things that represent each and every person that they feel that they are or who they have been or become.
Mm-hmm.
And the masks that are talked about in the book, I did not understand why I was so fascinated with masks with no eyes. And most people collect masks with eyes, and I always collected masks with no eyes. Features of a mother and child. I could not understand why I was so drawn to this stuff, having the background of the childhood that I grew up with the abuse that I had, that from my parents, my family. So when my doctor explained all this to me, exactly why I was drawn to it, wasn't me as the person who owns the body. It was actually the children inside of me. That's why a lot of people think I have a museum for a house.
Yeah.
So they're afraid to touch anything. They're afraid to do anything because everything I have represents not me, but it represents each and every one of me.
And the mask became a theme running through the book because as we did research, especially through the South, it's based mostly in Arkansas, but also in Tennessee, Mississippi, that everyone we talked to in one way or another was wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And to get through that, and even the people in professional jobs, professional positions, they were all telling us the stories that they needed to tell in order to live. And that's when the book really changed, because we discovered that he's not the person that he always thought he was. His father, that he thought was his father, is not his father. He's the product of an affair that his mother had. And so that opened up a whole other storyline. So, like I said, I'm not saying we can't say it's an easy book to get through. I've been told both stylistically and emotionally it's very, very difficult. But we're very proud of Which One Am I? We do hope to help a lot of other people through shows like this.
Yes. The reason I decided that to go through ahead with the book is I always had a dream of writing about the South, of how children are really brought up. It wasn't all this, Christian love, love thy neighbor and love thy children, as you should do. I hope I don't offend anyone out there with the way, but I am from the South. I grew up in the South. And it is not the lovey-dovey church-going Bible Belt is they all want people to believe. And a child, and when I was growing up, and were made to be seen and not heard.
Oh, I heard that before.
Yeah, and I never had my own voice. So when I was being abused, I was afraid to tell because of that fact of knowing I could not open my mouth and to be believed, because children were not believed. They were just there to be seen, and and when they get 18 or 17, you get married, you get out. That's the way I was seeing things.
And he was not believed, not by his family, not by authorities, by no one. And we found, it was sort of devastating as we did the research to find that people don't even believe it now. And that's just a real shame. This is, I've told people if something like this has happened to Darrell growing up, which wasn't that long ago. It was like, he was born in 1966, so it's the early 1970s. That wasn't that far back.
Right.
Well, it must be happening to someone somewhere right now.
Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Listening to you, and I'm always thinking. Usually, I'm thinking about things that most people don't even think about. But nonetheless, as I listen to you, I often sit down and I think, what we see in front of us, what we see around us, what we see is going on around us on the surface is not what we really see, and it's not really what's going on, because it's like the other side of a canvas. If you get on the other side of the canvas or on the other side of the wall, there's bad stuff that's happening in society, and that's going on constantly, all the time. And you're absolutely right. Somewhere, someone is going through the same thing, the same difficulties, fighting the same battles, and wondering, who in the world am I? Why won't anyone believe me? And the whole 9 yards. So, our society is so geared up on looking at the pretties. Don't really accept anything hard in your mind, because that'll just throw you off track. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. I was telling somebody else that I think from people I've talked to, if anybody looks through their own family history, I think they'll discover that's really what they think they know is really just a combination of fables and fantasy, just like Darrell. And in order to find out the truth of why you are who you are, you really have to dig into the things that people won't say. And of course, that also leads me to question, the notion of history itself that we're taught. Because if our family history is basically made up, then who is making up the history we know?
And why, my biggest problem is that why are children always put in the middle of something that they should not be put in the middle of?
Yes.
Why, if a teacher touches, going back, I'll finish what I was going to say in just a minute, because that leads up to what I was talking about, that not being heard, not being believed by anybody. When for instance, when I ran across the street in front of a cop car almost getting hit by that cop car. They tell me to come out from where I'm hiding, ask me what's wrong, why did I run across the street in front of them. I tell them what's going on. They take me home to where my mother was at, and they go back to where my ex-stepfather was living, I was forced into staying with him. They let him go because my mother refused to be embarrassed by me because I was being seen as a troublemaker, that I didn't want to be there. So the police didn't believe a kid, run across the street and almost getting hit. There's got to be a reason behind that.
Mm-hmm.
And the authorities don't believe us now.
Yeah.
I've talked to them. And, the standard line in the South is, I don't remember. And I've heard that so many times during the research. Or, actually, the excuse we normally get is this, there was a fire. Although one time there was a flood.
There was always something to put us that was blocking the truth, is that people just didn't want to hear the truth. They didn't want to believe that their small little town had someone in their midst that they just refused to see. And when the second time that I had talked to the school and tried to ask them if one of my persons that had molested me as I was going to school, asked them if the man was still there. Oh, no. He moved on. He left. Immediately, red flags went up in my mind. No, he's still there, because it didn't happen only to just me.
Yeah.
It had to happen to more than one person.
Right.
Because a rapist doesn't just stop at one rape.
Well,
they will keep raping and raping until someone either catches them or kills them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
or they're in prison. One of the three. And these people just did not want to believe that they let someone slip through their fingers, that they had been told about repeatedly by me that this man was doing this and never got anything done about it. So I decided to put my life out there in the public, in this book, with names and everything of the places that it happened, who the person was. I don't care what they do to me, because they can't do any more to me now than they did to me then.
Mm.
They've already taken everything away from me that can be taken away, and that's my childhood.
Yeah, we were warned against putting real names in it, but
I refuse not to.
Yeah,
I refuse not to.
We figured, they really didn't deserve to be anonymous.
No.
After all that Darrell went through.
Right.
And
right.
we haven't had any
flashbacks yet.
Yeah, we haven't had anything happen to us as a result of it. But then again, we tend to discover that there's a lot of people in the South who don't read, either because they can't or because they won't. And so, okay, that's fine with that.
I just put it like this: if they have something to say about what I said about them, they're going to have to prove beyond any doubt what they did to me is a lie.
Yeah.
What they have caused me to become in my life is a lie. They are not going to be able to stand up in any court or in my face and say, I did not touch you. I did not do this. There's just no way. And so that's what made, and plus I had prayed to God over and over for the guidance to write this book, to help me through this, win my life. Because if it wasn't for God, I would have killed myself years ago to get out of it, to get away from it. And I'd rather deal with my personalities, my little kids inside of me, my little girls, my little boys that wanted, that was there because I needed them. And the brain has a way of helping you at your time of your worst times in life. Is he still there?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I was just wondering what you were doing. And learning about DID was the best thing that I could have done, because not knowing what was going on with me, people walking up to me saying they knew me, I'd been in their house, I'd done this, I'd done that, and I'm going like, are you freaking crazy? Mm-hmm. Where in the heck did you meet me at? Because I didn't trust anybody,
right?
No one, and much less somebody walking up to me, tell me they know me when I've never seen them. And when I started looking for help, I asked, I sought out everything I could find about trying to find a therapist that knew something. And, one of the first questions she asked me is, have you ever seen the movie Sybil or a book called Sybil? Mm-hmm. No, I didn't. To be honest with you, no, I didn't. Because I didn't learn how to read until I was 30 years old. Mm-hmm. And it was amazing that, not being able to read and everything, I guess, helped me in a way, because I didn't have to learn about what other people were going through. Right. The stories that people were telling, the abuse and stuff. I just always thought I was the only one this was happening to. Mm. I didn't want to believe that there were children out there that were going through what I was going through at that time. And,
But you didn't really know what you were going through.
I just knew that I was not who these people were saying I was. And that's what my whole problem was, is I was fighting with people were telling me they know me, that I said I was this person, and that, and it was hard. So when I got with the therapist, her name is Sharon Higgins, Dr. Sharon Higgins, that woman had opened my eyes up to reality and life, that I don't have to suffer, that I can be and do what I want. Mm-hmm. And if that means writing this book and fighting back, then that's what I'll do. I will fight for any child out there that is going through sexual abuse, mental abuse, or physical abuse from anyone. If any child is being touched and they feel that touch is not proper, then you tell somebody. And if your parents don't believe you, you tell someone that will believe you. And you tell them until you're blue in the face.
Right.
And that child can describe to you what a person's genitals look like. Excuse me, I hope that can be aired. Then you tell them what that person's genitals look like. Mm-hmm. I don't care how embarrassing it is. No person deserves to go through what I went through and what many more children are going through.
Yeah, and we do find, talking to other multiples, that I'm being honest with us, Darrell's probably a lot more advanced in his understanding and living with DID than most of them are. And that makes us really sad, It really does. So we're just happy to help him out as much as we possibly can.
When all this abuse started, mm-hmm. and you was talking about the brain, it's got this safety mechanism. That's what I call it, a safety mechanism. Mm-hmm. That will bring someone in or take you out and put you wherever you're at, in a safe place in your mind.
Right.
And
right. I'm sorry.
Once that happens, because it has to happen. I mean, there's no other way. There's no other way for a human to continue to exist, to face such stuff without that safety mechanism. I don't know what the medical profession calls it, but I call it a safety mechanism.
It's called blocking.
Yeah, it's more like a protector to you than anything, even if it's only for a little while. When did you realize that you were multiple, or didn't you until later on in life?
I did not know I didn't know the terminology of it, and I didn't know what was going on until I was 19, when I saw my first time I saw my doctors. Uh-huh. And I was described with so many medical issues because nobody could figure it out. Nobody knew. And so, and then when I got with the one doctor that knew a lady that's what she done, and she wanted to, he was leaving, and thank God he did, or I would still be in trouble. She says that it's called splitting. Splitting is caused by the brain that, in the mechanisms of, I guess I call it prayer. You pray for something so hard with all your heart and all of your soul until God gives you the power to bring forth something. That's why they're called my souls born without bodies. That's one of the little things I have in the book. That's what I see them as. They're my souls born without bodies, of different kinds of me, of different lives that I've had. But
see, even though Darrell didn't realize it until he was 19, which is pretty typical amongst multiples, that they will discover it later. From what we can trace back, it was probably been happening all of his life. There are even medical professionals now who posit that even the act of being born can cause enough stress to have someone split. And we tell the story, although we don't actually say that's what happened with Darrell, but we assume that Billy, who's the dominant and is 2 years old, most likely split before he was born. The man he thought was his father, the man who his mother was married to and separating from at the time of his birth, beat her. And that's how the book opens, trying to cause her to lose the child. That's a story that we had no idea why, and then we came to figure it out once we learned that his father was not his father.
Let me tell our audience, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends, Romans, and countrymen, listen very carefully to me. You need to get the book. Go to the website, whichonemi.net, and there you'll see information about it. James, Thomas, where can they get the book at?
It's available pretty much everywhere people buy books these days. We're modern guys. Amazon has it. I believe Barnes & Noble has it. If people don't want to pay the shipping charges that Amazon charges too much for, you can actually ask any of local bookstores to order it for you. They won't have it in stock because we haven't gone that far in the promotion. But they can order it for you, and you get sell it for the cover price.
James, you said you was 19 when I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, it's only by the grace of God that you were still alive with everything that you went through, the confusion, the loneliness, the darkness, and you were still alive at 19. I mean, that in itself is a miracle, don't you think?
Yes, sir, because I always prayed to God to help me. I mean, without God, I owe nothing to this world without God. I mean, even though I used to think that having my personality disorder was an affliction, that it was something that I brought on and that God made me suffer this way. When I learned about it, what caused it and why, that it was not my fault, I asked God why. And I often wondered why people always told me that you're not allowed to ask God questions. And then I always thought to myself, if I'm not allowed to ask my God questions, then he's not the God I want.
Right.
So when God answered me with Sharon, my doctor, when he answered me with meeting her and learning about it and becoming who I am today, the man I've grown into be, then there is no other question or no other reason and why I've learned to live with it is because of God. he had a better purpose for me. At the time, I thought it was something I'd done wrong that he wanted to punish me for. But then when I come to realization that I'd done nothing wrong, it wasn't a curse, and I asked God for forgiveness for asking him why he did me this way, why he leaves me with people that you're supposed to trust and be abused that way. It wasn't God doing it. It was man doing it to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I set out to try to do what God wants me to do, and that's reach even one person at a time. I don't care if I see one person in a room. As long as I can help that person and get that person to the right place, to meet the right people, and make sure that they get the help that they need, then I've done what God meant for me to do. And that's why I wrote the book and put my life out there online to let everyone know that I'm not ashamed anymore, that I'm not afraid. I'm not that frail little boy I used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And thanks to Tom, my husband,
mm-hmm.
if it was not for him knowing how to do what he does, the book would have never gotten there. And I wouldn't be here talking to you on this computer today because I have no idea how to work a computer.
Well, it would have been. I think it would have been a very different story. I mean,
I probably would be dead.
Unfortunately, Darrell's kind of saddled with a husband who loves research. The journalistic background really turned it into a different story. Look, George, I figured if I was going to write maybe one book in my entire life, I want it to be as good as it possibly could be. So, there's some little mistakes I find in which one am I, but, I think we did good. I really do. We're really proud of what we've done, and, Darrell says we've just helped one person at a time, and believe me, we've had some ratings where that was the case. But, eventually, we'll get it. We'll get there. People will help the more people. That's all we can do.
That's right. That's absolutely right. When you go through your hard times or your multiples, would what's the word? I'm hesitant to even ask anything because
you don't have anything you'd like to ask, sir. I am not afraid to answer a question. If it's something that I don't want to answer, I won't.
We like to say our lives are an open book, and that book is called "Which One Am I?"
Is when with your multiples, what's it called? Coming out, or when one would do they take over or? I'm probably not making sense, but perhaps you know what I'm saying.
I think I understand. You correct me if I'm misunderstanding what you're asking. When I change, when it used to happen to me, I had no idea what was going on with me. I had no idea that I was changing at the time. But learning about myself and learning about the brain and learning about what really causes it is that I am the body. I am the true owner of this body.
Or the firstborn in DID pronouns.
Yes. And if I say no, they cannot come out. They have their times that they need to be there, and they are supposed to let me know exactly when they need to be out. Or if I'm in a situation, say that I'm walking down the street and I'm fixing to be attacked, if I don't see that happening and one of my insiders do, then they have that right to take over the body and shut me down and take over and protect me the best way they know how with the abilities that they have.
Right. We said it's like a scene in a movie. Darrell fades out, and somebody else fades in. They'll come forward to just take control. He's been in therapy enough and learned enough about DID now that normally he will maintain some sort of control. of the situation. Yes. He will know, in other words,
in advance.
Yeah, he will know that it's happening.
Yes.
Well, it wasn't always the case.
Not always. You know, it used to be where people, like I said, people would say they knew me and stuff, and then years later they'd meet me, and or a couple of days later, people would walk up to me and say the same thing over and over, and it's like I couldn't figure out why people were doing this to me. I thought it was somebody playing jokes on me, or no, I just had that face. That's what that was my line is. Oh no, you don't know me. I just had that type of face that, I look like everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize how true that was.
Do you want to tell a little Caesar story?
Which one?
Well, there's a story.
Oh my God! My first job.
Before he was ever knew what was going on.
Okay.
I put this in because I think it's kind of amusing, but it might also be horrifying. I don't know.
Okay. My first job was at a Little Caesar's Pizza
Las Vegas.
in Las Vegas. You want me to tell this to you?
You go ahead.
It was in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I started to work, and it was about the second day, and I was put on dough duty, which it means processing the dough, getting it ready, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So my 2-year-old decides to, okay, this looks like fun. Looks like snow. I'm going to have fun here. We're going to take over the body and shut him out and make him think he's doing the work, but he's not. So they start throwing the dough and the flour up in the air all over the place. And next thing I realize, I turn around and I'm looking like, what are you all looking at? And I look at myself and there's dough everywhere in my hair, flour, all over the place. And I just look at the manager and the people that were working there, says, whatever I earn, you keep it. I'll leave. Because I didn't even know what had happened. I had, like I said, the part about the mirror part. Back then, when they would come out, I would start seeing myself in the mirror, and then all of a sudden, it's like I disappeared, and either I'd walked away from the mirror, but then I'd see from the ground up. Do you understand what I mean? Like a child would.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Looking up at their father in the mirror, shaving or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way sometimes I see the mirror. Is I don't always see what's in the mirror. I see up at the mirror.
Right.
And that's Billy, Jimmy, Dot, and Robbie Rob. And those are the most ones that have the most fun. Mm-hmm. They're just kids that I wanted to be. I wanted people to love me like that little child, those kids that I have now. And I got my wish. I got to be, and I can still get to be those kids.
Right.
I can still be the brother I wished that Steve and all of the older kids and stuff were, that I saw my brothers and them to be, that the brothers that they weren't. And my sister became all mixtures of races. I have black girls, I have white girls, I have Spanish, and I have Asian, I have Italian, I have French, and so on. And
one of the popular misconceptions about DID is that the people are
boys.
Well, the people inside are basically caricatures. That's the way they're thought of, but it's not true. I mean, the people inside Darrell are sort of a combination. Some of them have traits that of people he was. Some have traits of people he wanted to be. Some have traits belonging to people he knew. Some other ones have traits belonging to someone he wanted to know. Mm-hmm. And it's very, very, it's a mixture of personality traits, just like any other human.
Right.
And that's, that's how we treat them, because, they are other humans.
And then there are some that, like Steve, my teenager Steve, was, at the time, I was only 6 years old, and my uncle Steve which he named himself after, sat on the couch with me beside him and looked at me and said, "I forgive what you said the week before, and I love you," and then blew his brains out in front of me and all over me. That was the last time I remember my uncle. That was the last moment that I saw him, and for years, and at that moment, I became Steve. But I didn't realize that. I just thought I was a kid that was being told one thing and then shown another.
So we're getting a lot of the kids inside are feeling very emboldened by the book and by the tour of what we're going through. When I met Darrell, his first husband Robert had just passed, and Robert knew 8 of the kids. We are now approaching, or if not over 24, and they're feeling like that what we're doing is good. They want to take part in it. I feel sorry for anybody who comes to our signings because the kids all pop out and fight Darrell for the pen. I don't know how anybody can read what you wrote.
I don't either. And that's what I tell them, that if you want me to sign it, give me a few minutes, I'll sign it, but I'm gonna have to fight with the kids on the pen.
Yep.
And they say, okay, that's fine with me, just let them do sign whatever. So I'm gonna say, I'll pray to God you know how to read kid writing, because I sure don't.
Everybody wants to sign, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And especially the little ones, there's like, okay, good, we get to write again. We get to write something, write our name, yay! And it's just like, they just go, okay, and I just say, okay, they don't care. Here, take it. And they just scribble, and God only knows what they write in there, because I can't read it. And they're me, and I still can't read their writing. And, that's the fun part is, I may not know who I am at all times, but at least I know who I am as an individually person and a human being, and what I am here for again.
That makes sense, Darrell. That makes sense. That really does. Do all the personalities, do they grow in age, or they just stay pretty much the same?
No, sir. They can become any age they'd like. If, say that Billy wants to be 24, he can be 24 years old. But the problem is that once he's learned the behavior of a child, he becomes a 24-year-old handicapped child.
Right.
Full-grown man of 24. He would be considered handicapped.
I got you.
Because he only knows the actions of a child.
It's the only one of the people inside that we kind of figure, well, a couple of them have changed now, another one, but James, who apparently went to school first, is at 6, is now a teenager. And let's see, and then who else changed ages? Dot. Dot first came to us at age 6, and now he wants to be age 2. So okay, whatever his reason, he thinks he has more fun. But
he gets to play with toys. That's all he cares about.
Yeah, it's more, but it's in his case, in our case, it's sort of atypical that they will switch like that.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
There had to be a tremendous, what's the word? I know there's a tremendous stigma in our society about this, but the cruelty and the loneliness and all those things that you and others before you and unfortunately others to come, that's got to be the most, and I can't find the right words to say it, but that whatever that is, the loneliness, the darkness, the heartache, the pain, that's got to be terrifying.
It's very heart-wrenching to see someone or to know someone that is going through it. And it's just, like a lot of people don't understand that why some people turn to alcohol or turn to drugs, which I am no saint to that. I have turned to alcohol to try to hide, to be different, to be, more of...
To fit in.
To fit in. And I found that the reason is people that turn to it and become alcoholics and stuff and drug addicts are hiding from their pain and their suffering that they have gone through or what they may be going through now. Mm-hmm. That they're too afraid or ashamed or don't know why they feel the way they do. So they figure that, well, if I'm drunk, then I'll have an excuse and I won't have to face it. But it's better to face the problems head on than it is to give in to alcohol, drugs, or anything. Always be open to be able to try to say, hey, I need help. Don't always feel that old adage that if you're seeing a psychiatrist, you're crazy. That's not always true. It takes a crazy person to not see a psychiatrist than it does to see a psychiatrist.
Mm-hmm. And so what Darrell's describing is very typical. That's why people are positing that there's not nearly as many male DIDs identified as female, but men, typically will not seek therapy. They will deaden the pain with the alcohol, drugs, sex, and violence
until they end up in prison or they're dead.
Right. I've read that if you're looking for a male DID, prison's probably the place to do it. That's sad.
Even though people don't, especially in the men. Hey, it's not all gay guys are like, most gay guys, as people typically say, that they're all like women. They all, with their feelings out there. No, they're not. Mm-hmm. I wasn't. And it took a lot for me to be able to get to that point to where I was able to tell somebody how I was feeling and, to describe what I was being said to me and what was happening to me by the first time that I ever was asked, what exactly do I feel when this happens? And Sharon asked two questions. She says, just like it's the normal thing to do for a schizophrenic or a person with personality disorder, is that the difference is that I see from within behind my eyes, and then I become. And so I see what's going on, but at the early stages of my therapy and of this, I wasn't able to control it. I had to learn how to control my individuals. I had to learn what their wants were, what their likes were, what their dislikes were, what they were feeling, how they felt protecting me all the time. They were going through trauma for me, so I wouldn't have to. So I had to come to terms to deal with the fact that here I am, someone that can change on a dime into someone else, to take my abuse, to hide from the abuse that was being given to me, and I was shutting out to them. Mm-hmm. I was shutting out to myself. And so I started talking to Sharon about what can I do to control them, because they're always fighting me to get out. They're always thinking, well, they won't stop unless they feel that I can handle what is about to be found out. I wasn't able to deal with any of my personalities until I was able, and well, it's basically that they have to feel that I'm able to cope, understand, and to deal with what they are about to release it to me as information. Like the sexual abuse, my father not being my father, the thoughts that I always had about my father not being my father, but always being lied to and stuff. Okay, why am I being lied to? Why am I always being abused? It was always, why me? It wasn't me that I done nothing. I was just born.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing happened before I was born. Things happened to me after I was born. It happens to all of us. But sometimes, like you described earlier, some people, even to this day, are going through the exact same traumatic stress and problems that I had gone through that don't always become people with DID, like mine, personality disorder. They don't always change like that. It happens to where that they're not able to have that faith that it's going to be over with. And you've got to have faith that abuse is going to stop when you find the power to stop it by saying no more, or I'll tell. Don't always believe that when you're being touched by a teacher, priest, father, mother, whatever, that if you tell, I'll kill you and your whole family or whoever else you know. Don't believe that, because they're not going to kill you, your family, and everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the whole thing behind a sexual predator towards children. They will lie to that child to get that child to not say a word. But don't let that happen. That's my advice to children.
There's a whole section. Well, there are whole sections of Darrell's history that are just lost, including his time. When he first came out to Los Angeles, he lived in Hollywood for a while, and that's when we drive through Hollywood a few times. James, James represents anger. It's one of his jobs. He will usually point out places that are familiar, but as far as what happened in Hollywood, that's a blank. James won't tell Darrell. James won't tell me. And, what always goes through my head is like, my goodness, there's so much horrible stuff that we recount in Which One Am I? I can't even imagine how much more horrible whatever happened in Hollywood must be.
Right.
Missing time is very, very, very common amongst DID patients. And, James will tell Darrell or won't when he feels Darrell is capable of handling it. And he won't tell me because I have a big mouth. That's just it.
Tom will tell me everything.
You got it. We have no secrets here.
Ladies and gentlemen, please do yourself a favor. Get this book. Let me reach over here and get my gizmo here. Which One Am I? Fantastic. Darrell, you have, and I said this in the beginning, I'll say this before I leave you fellows go. I tip my hat to you. I really do. I had a young lady on a couple weeks ago. Maybe it was last week. I don't know. I lose sense of time and days. A young lady who was fighting mental illness from the time she was very young, and her mother had episodes of depression and bipolar and so on and so forth. And she wrote a book, and I was just so touched and so inspired by this young lady that she would just, she did what you did and what other folks are doing. You just lay it out there. Just lay it out. Lay it wide open, and there you are. I mean, it's just, I tip my hat to you, sir. I really, really do. And I've always had a saying. I used to say, and I still do, if I don't understand something, it makes me angry. If I understand something, then I can accept it. I might not like it. It might not be the best thing that I've ever had coming down the pike. But if I can understand it, then I can accept it and I can deal with it. But if I don't understand it, it makes me angry because I'm in that land that I've never been in before. It's a whole different animal to me. And I think that folks that have the DID and folks that have anything, when they read your book and they find out that they're not alone, I still say that that's the biggest hurdle. If you can find someone, like you said, that'll listen to you, you're not alone. That's the first hurdle. If you can get in that realm, then I think you're on your way to wherever you've got to go to be safe and sound again. Don't you?
Absolutely.
I sure do.
Yeah, you can't deal with, you have to know the truth before you can place it into your life.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And you've got to have people that believe in you as a person. And for yourself, you have to believe in yourself most of all. And when you don't have that, I believe in myself, then you're lost. But when that happens and you can actually say, I believe in myself, then you can go a long way. And I do appreciate your compliments. I don't do compliments very well because it's like oh well,
I know what you're saying. I really do. And Thomas, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us on this show.
Thank you very much,
This
sir.
is wonderful, George. Really appreciate it.
Well, if there's anything that I can do, you've got my number, you've got my email.
Absolutely.
Please contact us, and I'll be willing to do anything you need.
We'll do it. Hopefully we can bring our words and music tour out to the East Coast. There's lots of places out there
Yeah.
we'd like to see.
That would be fun. That would really be fun. And if that starts to develop, please let me know.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
sir.
Thank you, George.
All righty, and I hope to have you back again.
Oh, you will.
We'll
anytime you'd like, sir.
All righty.
you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You
Appreciate
sir.
it.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Mr. George.
Bye-bye. Ah, my, oh, my. That is, that's just amazing. That is just amazing. Get the book. Which one am I? Question mark. It's written by Thomas Smith and James Darrell Williams. Which one am I? And I see, let me get my gizmo. I see on their website, whichoneami.net, that you can get it. You can even get it in the Kindle form. Yes. Now available in print at Amazon and ebook, Amazon Kindle. You can get it in the Kindle form. If you go to your local bookstore and they don't have it, ask them to order it for you, and I'm sure they'll get it. Which one am I? A fascinating read. It's something that most of us are not familiar with. I mean, not a long shot. We're not familiar with it. But who or which one am I? Which one am I? Do yourself a favor and get that book. Website again is whichoneami.net. All right. I've got to take a breather. You get up and stretch. I've already been standing up, but you get up and stretch. Let your hair down if you have hair. If you don't, get up anyhow and stretch, and let's do this.
Thought that I would
That's the lady, Soraya, that has an attitude, and we showcased some of her music on Friday night. I went back and I dug around a little bit and I found some more. And hopefully we're reaching out, and I really do hope that we can have her as a guest on the show. She has a tremendous story to tell. I've been doing some researching, and we need to get her on this show. She's not only a terrific musician and a singer and a songwriter, she has a real story of inspiration to tell us or to share with us all. So hopefully we'll get her on the show. Tomorrow night, we will have, let me find my gizmo. Always looking for my gizmo. Let's see. Can you believe that today is the 8th of July already? And this evening's almost gone. Tomorrow night we'll have Daryl Lester. Do yourself some homework. And at 6:30 on Wednesday, I'm not sure because I have to go back and check that and see if that individual could make it or couldn't make it. And then on Thursday, Michael Nuccitelli will be with us. That'll be very interesting. And on Friday night, Dale Stanton. So we've got a full schedule, a full lineup of great guests. And I want to say thank you. Thank you very, very much to Thomas Smith and James Darrell Williams, authors of the book, Which One Am I? It's Darrell's story. And they laid him out bare. I mean, and it's fantastic. It's fantastic. Multiple personalities. I'll get it. Multiple personalities. Get the book. Which One Am I? ? By Thomas Smith and James Darrell Williams. You can get it at Amazon.com. Is that right, Charlie? Amazon.com. Right. You can get it in the Kindle form. So, and you can get it wherever books are sold. If the bookstore you're at doesn't have it available, ask them to order it. And it won't be hard to find it and get it to you very quickly. So I thank these fine gentlemen for being with us tonight. It was delightful. I'll tell you what, you talk about thought-provoking. And I couldn't help but sit here as I listened to them, thinking much like I always do. You know, it's easy to stick your head in the sand like an ostrich and pretend there's nothing really going on around you. Or you get into that denial syndrome where everything is groovy. The birds are singing, the sun's shining, the sky is blue, the grass is growing, and everything's coming up roses. But we all know that life can be pretty cruel and treacherous sometimes. And if more men and women would pay attention to what we know is out there, we could do evil a big hurt. We could give evil a big hurt if we only fessed up, manned up to the fact that there's some bad things going on. If someone comes to you, a young person comes to you and tells you that something just isn't right, don't shrug them off. Don't tell them what Grandma used to tell us, little pitchers with big ears. Or, as Darrell mentioned, we're to be seen and not heard. I've heard that. I've heard that when I was growing up. But listen, if somebody comes and tells you that there's something wrong, something's going on, don't shrug it off. Don't pretend that you didn't hear it. And don't get that attitude, well, I don't really want to get involved. I'd better be safe than sorry. I'm just saying. So we need to stand up and be accountable. And that's not only as far as children go, that's as far as all society. In our politics, in our neighborhoods, keep your eyes open and do something when you see that something isn't quite right.
Now, I'm gonna tell you all a little story about life and love. You know, love's never, ever easy. And the heartache, it'll wear you down. That's why I rely on something I call love amnesia. So you better remember what I told you to forget.
Everybody's up and at 'em around here. Wow, we have had a delightful time tonight. Tremendous, I mean incredible guest tonight with a true account of a real individual. Do yourself a favor. I know I say that quite often, but do yourself a favor. Get the book written by Thomas Smith and James Darrell Williams. Which one am I? Which one am I? It's Darrell's story, written by him and Tom. And so get it. Do yourself a favor and get the book. Which One Am I? We've had incredible guests tonight. Now we've had some incredible music, and we're not quite done. Tomorrow night we'll have another fantastic guest. And Wednesday and Thursday and Friday and so on and so forth. And I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in to the George Espenlaub Show, wherever you're at, wherever you are. There are many that tunes in live, and then there are those who can't make it when we go live at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. But they come and they go back and listen to it later. And then there's some that listens tomorrow. But regardless, they are all archived, and you can back and listen to them morning, noon, or night, anytime, whichever benefits you. And they're available for download, every episode. They're available for download free of charge. So you can download one, some, or all. So take advantage of it. And don't forget, there are thousands, literally thousands of top-notch, high-quality radio shows on Spreaker.com. There is some top-notch, I mean top-shelf, very talented men and women and young people that are producing their own shows and putting it out there for the world to hear. Internet radio is... It's booming. It's not done yet. It's still evolving. I don't know where it's going to go, but it's not going to stop. I know that. Modern technologies, Espenlaub, stop it. Modern technology has brought us to this point, and I'm sure we're going to continue onward. So listen, take advantage and listen. Literally thousands of great shows that you can listen to right here on Spreaker.com. Where am I at?
Gonna sing a song about it. Like this, like this, like this. I said, yeah! Come on, come on, come on! Ooh, you call me sugar? I got my walking shoes on. See you, my sweet lover's lover. Yeah, from dusk till dawn. Ooh, I got a color,
That's Soraya, if I'm saying it right, but nonetheless, that's the young lady that has an attitude, and I mean to tell you, she is electrifying. Wow. And we've been playing her music tonight, and we played some of it on Friday night. Was it Friday night? Yes, on Friday night. And wow. Hopefully we can get her here as a guest. I think she will electrify the audience for sure. Nonetheless, listen, thank you for tuning in tonight. Thank you for hanging with me. And if you know of someone that didn't listen to the show tonight, tell them that they can go back and listen to what was said. Very vital, very vital. Which One Am I? By Thomas Smith and James Darrell Williams. Just tremendous, tremendous. They laid it all on the line and read all about it. Wow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I see the train. Charlie's over there pointing. I know, Charlie. I know. Yes, I know. I'm hungry too. Yeah, I'm really hungry, Charlie. But anyhow, we're gonna leave you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends, Romans, and countrymen. Don't forget to be with us again tomorrow night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, when we'll have another fantastic guest, much more music, and God only knows what else will happen around here. And so, remember, there's a whole lot of love that coming to you from the Funny Farm. It really is. And so till tomorrow night, if it's nighttime where you are right now, you have a great night and get a good night's sleep. For some of you that are listening, it's already tomorrow. It's already daytime. So you go ahead and have yourself a fine day. But regardless of where you are and what it is, until tomorrow night, same time, same station, this is George Espenlaub challenging you. Be kind one to another. Don't take no wooden nickels. And remember, don't ever forget this. Grandma Strayer is keeping her eye on you. And so you be good out there. I'll see you tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Good night, everybody.